So you want to make a YouTube video, but you're not sure where to start? Hey everyone, my name's Ichiban and today I'm going to be sharing with you all the lessons I've learned in making YouTube videos and hopefully teach you how to make your own. Making videos for YouTube can be a super fun and rewarding process. It's a great way to create, share content and connect with a global audience. The possibilities are endless with the types of videos you can create for YouTube. It's a great way to keep a visual diary and record of your life, and you can even build a successful career from it. I'm going to run through everything you need to know, from the camera equipment you'll need, to planning, shooting and editing your video, to sharing it onto YouTube. So the first topic, let's talk about the camera equipment you'll need. What gear you'll need comes down to what content you're trying to make, your budget, and your skill level in operating the cameras. Camera equipment for YouTube comes down to 3 categories. Number 1, video. A camera to film on is the first obvious piece of equipment you'll need. You don't need the latest and greatest, most expensive cameras to start on, especially for YouTube. I know a lot of vlog channels on YouTube who are still using their phones to film as their main camera. Don't let this be an excuse to stop you from starting a YouTube channel. Honestly, sometimes having a big, bulky camera can get quite cumbersome. Sometimes shooting with just a smartphone makes a lot more sense. There is no one single camera that's perfect for everyone. It all comes down to what type of videos you want to make. For example, if you're shooting a lot of sports, say you're starting a snowboarding channel, your best bet might be an action camera. These are durable, weatherproof, they're small, compact, you can strap them to a lot of accessories, and you might be able to get some cool POV shots with this thing, as opposed to a bigger, larger, bulkier camera. For high-end videos, say cinematic travel videos, you might want to consider buying a DSLR or a cinema camera like this. These cameras can shoot in higher resolution, higher frame rate, which means you'll get better quality and you can shoot in slow motion. Features smaller cameras might not have. It all comes down to getting the best bang for your buck. Think about what you're shooting and then buy accordingly. Shoot some test videos, see how it looks. In the end, if a smartphone's all you got, it's more than enough. Start with what you got. Let's move on to the second category of camera equipment, audio. Audio is more important than most people give it credit for. What I found is that people would rather put up with poor quality video than bad quality audio. Take this sentence for example, I'm going to destroy the quality of the audio in post. Sounds really bad, right? Just imagine trying to sit through this quality of audio for the next 10 minutes. Now I'll show you an example of what poor quality video looks like. As long as the audio is okay, you can kind of put up with it. Either way, you should work on both your video and audio quality. YouTube's such a big platform, it won't take long before the viewer will click off to something else. Some practical tips to take into consideration about audio: try to have the mic as close as possible to you. This will get you the best sounding audio. For example, I'm using a lavalier mic, which is as close as possible to my face. If you're unsure of how your audio is going to sound, shoot a few test clips, see how it sounds before you start shooting your main clips. That way you'll know for sure how everything looks and sounds before you start filming. Alright, so let's talk about the third category, lighting. Lighting is super important. It'll help you get the most out of your camera, whether you use an expensive DSLR or a smartphone. I'm going to show you a few examples of the lighting I'm currently using, just so you can see the difference. Here's without the main light that I'm using, completely dark. So I'm currently using a big dome box light, which looks like this. It's a massive light. If I turn it off, it looks like this. And now this is without the big light, just with normal house lighting. It looks terrible, it's like down lighting. This is what window lighting looks like. The sun's about to set, so I don't actually have any control over the lighting. It's not too bad. If it was early in the day, I'd have more light on me, but ultimately I don't have that much control over it. One pro tip is to have the light in front of you at a 45-degree angle, pointing down at you. This is the most flattering angle for human faces. Having a light below you pointing up looks kind of scary, so try to avoid that. As you've seen in all the examples that I've shown you, lighting is super important, so try to keep it in mind when you film. Ultimately, if you can't control the lighting, you have to use what you've got. This clip, for example, it's very dark and at night. I noticed a store light, so I stood in front of it. This is one example of improvised lighting. Alright, so let's move on to the next topic of planning your video. It's totally possible to wing it through your entire filming process, not plan at all, but trust me, it'll save you a lot of headaches if you plan ahead. Even if it's just a rough outline, it'll help your shooting go a lot smoother. Where possible, I'll try to put together a storyboard as a visual guide to direct me through the entire shooting process. A shot list is also really helpful to help you save a lot of time. You have an actual list which you can work through during the day of your shoot. Of course, not everything will go to plan, but it's important to have a rough idea of what you want to achieve from each shoot. Let's move on to shooting. If possible and it makes sense, try to get all your A-roll first. A-roll is the main footage that will help drive your video forward and will make up the base of your video. For example, what I'm filming right now is the A-roll for this video. Once you've nailed all your A-roll, you move on to B-roll. B-roll are the complementary clips that will help you stitch your entire video together and fill in the gaps. When shooting B-roll, make sure that you get enough coverage. What I mean by this is shoot a variety of footage, from wide angles to medium to close-ups. You'll thank yourself later, as this will give you more room and flexibility in the edit, which is our next topic, editing or post-production. Once you've shot all your footage and you're ready to edit, it's time to bring all that footage into an editing software. For beginners, I definitely recommend Adobe Premiere Rush. It's super simple and easy to use. You start by dragging your main footage, your A-roll, onto a timeline until you have the structure of your video. From there, you can start filling in the gaps with B-roll and make it prettier with titles, grading, and sound. I found that with YouTube videos, it's important to only keep what's necessary in the video. Anything that's extra or doesn't need to be there, you should keep out of the video. Cut out all the fat. YouTube videos should be short, concise, and straight to the point. Outside of creating an awesome video for YouTube, there are 3 specific things you should take into consideration. Number 1 is thumbnails and titles. This is super important. If you can't get someone to click your video when they see your thumbnail and title, they won't watch it. This is why it's super important for the success of your videos and YouTube channel. Having a strong visual thumbnail will help grab the attention of the viewer, and having an intriguing title will help pique their interest and get them to click your video. The second most important metric of YouTube is viewer retention. Viewer retention is how much of the video each viewer watches. Ideally, you'd want the viewer to watch the entire video from the start all the way to the end. This is why it's so important to cut all the fat out of your video and for it to be concise and straight to the point. Try to avoid clickbait, as people will land on your video, watch it, realize it's not what they want, and then they'll click out of it. This will be bad for your viewer retention. And the third most important metric on YouTube is to try and convince your viewers to watch multiple videos on your channel. This is a strong signal for YouTube that your viewers like your videos and will continue to watch more. And that's all there is to it. Of all the tips I've shared in this video, the main lesson I want you to walk away with is to just start. The amount you learn by just doing is far more than you learn from any tutorial you can watch. You can adjust and improve your content as you go, but there's nothing more important than just starting. I hope you've learned something from this video. My name's Ichban, and you can find me on Instagram and YouTube. See ya.